We are going to chat with Sheri Few, founder, president, USPIE. The Supreme Court is ruling on whether parents can opt kids out of sexualized materials in school. She joins me now to talk about it. Hi, Sheri.
Hey, Fawn.
How you doing?
Oh, I'm well, thank you. How about you?
I'm okay. The United States Parents Involved in Education is USPIE. You founded this because things went cuckoo and somebody needed to stand up to it, right?
Absolutely. We're fighting the woke agenda and trying to protect children.
Okay. Now, I don't care how people live their lives. I really don't. But I think children should be in school to learn about the things they need to survive in a career, to do an engineering job, to do math, to tie their shoes, to wash their hands, to play at recess, to play football, do school stuff, not this stuff.
Well, yes. I mean, I think most of us were raised that way. We had good education from government schools, but today's schools have really become toxic. And so the Supreme Court is looking at a case that was already rejected by a federal judge and an appeals court judge. So it's gone all the way to the Supreme Court. And I'm really glad that they're hearing this case. And it sounds as though they're leaning toward ruling in the parents' favor. The parents together, they were Muslim and Christian parents that sued against their, because the content of this curriculum conflicts with their religious beliefs. Well, so under the First Amendment, they're suing.
It's not rare that the parents are against this either. It's not like a small minority. It's a lot.
Oh, I agree. And I think you and I have talked about this before, that we're seeing more and more evidence that it's not even a partisan issue. It is about parents thinking this is inappropriate for young children because we're talking about kindergarten through fifth grade. And so what's interesting in this Maryland school district, in the high school, there is an opt-out for sex education classes, but they are making it mandatory for these very young children. And what they're objecting to is a storybook reading. So they're reading these books to children that include outrageous things. And I can't even imagine a teacher sitting through reading things like Pride Puppy that has a gay pride parade, and you have to find things like underwear and lip rings and drag queens in these storybooks. So it's just outrageous that they think this kind of material is appropriate for very young kids. We're talking 6, 7, 8, 9-year-old kids.
Yeah, some of them are still peeing their pants.
Yeah.
Some of them aren't even aware what sexuality is. Some of them don't know the difference between boys and girls. They've not played doctor. We don't need to be planting this mature ideology into a child's mind at this age. They should be worried about little kid and baby stuff.
Yes, you're so right. I mean, these kids can't even read, and that's why the teachers are having to read these books to them. So you're absolutely right. Their minds have not even started thinking abstractly yet. And so they don't get these concepts. And the emotional part of their brain is where everything is operating right now. So those are just technical things. But I think it's very common sense to most adults that this is very inappropriate for children. And I'm so glad that the Supreme Court is hearing this case. They're going to make a ruling. Again, it sounds like they're leaning in favor of the parents, which could really set a great precedent for parental rights in this country.
Well, and I think the words to focus on are parental rights. So if everybody opts out, then this won't be taught at all. I don't even think an opt-out is enough. I think there should be an age cutoff, and I think that's probably like we didn't start learning about health issues and whether you got your period or whatever happened with little boys when they were young. We didn't cover any of that until fourth grade. That's when they began just kind of trickling in a little bit of information about, your body's going to change a little bit. There's hair down there, that sort of stuff, because we were all confused because our parents didn't tell us anything. So, that was okay. Take warm showers, do this, do that to keep your body clean and your hygiene good. But we weren't talking about taking one off and putting on another, and how to have sex and where to put things and all that. That is not okay, not even for 7th graders. We need to not have that, because if they hadn't thought about it before, they sure as heck are now.
That's right. It certainly puts the thoughts in their mind. And there's another important point, too. You said something about they ought to, if all the parents opt out, then they do away with it. But the problem here is this is opt out for religious beliefs. So the non-religious parents won't have the ability to opt out, even if the Supreme Court rules in favor of the parents.
That's so whack.
The parents in this district need to work their school board elections next cycle and get rid of every single member of that school board that has ruled this way against children and against parents' rights.
Somebody just said, well, what about the children who are having those thoughts? They have counselors for that. You can go to your counselor and speak privately with them and find out what's the best way for you to navigate the thoughts that you're having. That's why they're there. The entire class does not need to know about what the thoughts are that you're having until you are mature enough to make a decision older in life to be whatever it is you want to be. If you're gay, you're gay. Good. Live your life. We don't care. But a 6-year-old doesn't know what gay is unless they've got a parent who's gay or an uncle that wears dresses or whatever the case may be. Then they probably already know and don't need to be taught in school.
Yes, you're right. And I disagree with whoever said that. I don't think at this age they're having those thoughts unless, like you said, somebody has put it in their mind. If somebody has groomed them or they're very close to a situation like that, and that's the family's decision. So whatever the family decides they want to expose their children to, actually pornography is illegal. If they show them pornography, that's not right. But somehow the school has the right to do that.
Yeah, it's not okay in any case. And if ever there was a case where this was so appropriate, it was when a very young boy, I think he was 10 or 11, took a book that he checked out from his school library to a city or a school school board meeting and was reading from it. It was so pornographic, they told him to stop reading. He's like, why? I checked it out of my library. So we've got to start paying attention to what's being taught at every level in every school to see if it is age appropriate, because I think we've lost track of what age appropriate actually means because of the pushing of the woke agenda. Now, I am fine, I reiterate, with people who are adults who want to make decisions on how to live their life. Some of my dearest friends do not agree with me on these things, and I'm okay with that because I'm not going to change them and they're not going to change me. But hands off the babies. That's it.
Amen. And speaking of that, this ruling could have international impact. Mm-hmm. And if people are interested in what the United Nations and other global institutions have been pushing as far as what's suitable for children, I'd love for them to check out my new podcast, Unmasking Government Schools with Sherry Few. There's a segment called The United Nations is Encouraging Sexualization of Babies, just as you said it. Yeah. It's a great episode. I pray people will listen to it and get informed.
Yeah. Your sexual perversity needs to be kept away from my babies. I tell you what, my baby comes home and says that they learned about something that is wildly inappropriate. We're going to have more than a teacher conference. Just saying. Sherry Few, founder and president at USPIE. Make sure you check them out. USPIE. Sherry, thank you.
All right. Thank you, Fawn.
Bye-bye.